Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope everybody is doing friggin' awesome tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. For those of you who do not know, all those bumpers and intros that you saw here tonight were all brought to you by Place It and by Envato. If you want to easily and quickly create assets like that for your live stream, it's super easy. You can check the link in the description. My name is Michael Fire Jr. I am here to answer your live streaming questions as best I can. I love the fact that you guys come and hang out with me every Tuesday night. I do big time appreciate it. Let's see who's in the chat here. Let's see here. We've got Zane Shaw. Hello, Zane. Frail Gaming's in the house. Hello. Oh, man. It's awesome to see you guys. And Moss, all you guys are from the UK. Pretty awesome. Carl Witzman, good evening. Scott C. Parker. Scott, we are brothers in arms as far as the Eagles go, and I swear to God, I just want to punch somebody right in the eye because I'm so frustrated, and I bet you, if you mention it, Monica will say something about it too, because we are Eagles green through and through, and they're driving us completely insane and ruining our lives. But, you know, I feel you, Scott. I hope you're recovering from Sunday's game somehow. So it's awesome to see everybody tonight. If you have any live streaming questions, the easiest way to ask them is to @Monica, who has not yet typed into the live stream chat yet, but hopefully she does so that everyone knows who to @ when they're adding at the thing. Oh, there we go. She chatted in there. Let's go over to Monica and see what's going on this evening.
Uh-oh. Hey, I'm just still trying to get myself set up over here. It's good to see everybody. We have quite an active chat this morning, afternoon, evening for everyone around the world. So keep it coming, and we will get to your questions.
Woohoo! Do we have any questions yet?
There is a question, actually.
Would you like to read it to me?
I can read you that question. The first question comes from Zane. Zane Shah is saying he wants a guest stream in Skype with NDI. However, I want my feed direct from my camera and mic in OBS for higher quality. How can I do that? A video? In your video, you added yourself from Skype as well.
Oh, well, that's true. I did. All right, let's go over here, and what I want to do is I want to put this in the thing here so we can actually see it. There we go. There's Zane's question. Zane, this is actually a really good question, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up my OBS here so I can oh, I have to open my OBS. Give me a moment to open my second OBS so that I can walk you through how you're going to want to do this. It is possible. You can do it either way. Let me show you how to do it real quick. Alright, there we go. And I just have to move this over here. Move this. Yes, move this down here. Every time I reopen this window, I kind of have to reorganize my OBS that I use in my tutorials because I tend to use a layout that might not be familiar to everyone, and I don't want anyone to be like, "What the heck is that? I don't recognize that." Yeah, so every time I do this, I have to reorganize my screen here just so you guys don't get mixed up. But now we are good. Let's see here. Let's pop over here. Make sure my icons. Okay, so let's say that we wanted to add your camera. Well, I already have a camera in here theoretically, but let's go ahead and I'm gonna have to change something up in order for me to do this. I don't think I have an extra camera device that I can use. Let's see. I do not have an extra camera device that I can use at the moment. So instead of bringing in an extra camera, let's just, for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to bring in a video. Alright, so media source, video. We're going to browse to my local files and we're going to add a video source. Now keep in mind that this video source would be a camera that you're using. So in order for you to do what you want to do, you're going to need two cameras. So that's why I used the same camera in both, because otherwise you need two cameras. In this case I have three cameras and I still don't have enough cameras because one of the cameras is already being used. But we're gonna say that this is my camera, my main camera right here. Okay, and we'll just take this camera and we'll size it up however we want. And then when we go in here and we add our NDI sources and all that kind of stuff, we can just add them. I don't have anyone connected to NDI, so you get the point. You add your NDI source just like you would in the video. You drop it down, you select your source name, you get it in here, and then once you do, you size it up just like I did here and crop it up. And then you could put it, you know, here, 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 and here. And then you've got your 4 NDI sources and you with your main source. The reason why you need two cameras to do this is because the source, like Skype or whatever, needs a video of you in there as well, and you can't use the same source. In fact, the reason why I cannot right now use my third camera is because if I bring up my browser here, you can see my third camera is already being used by Restream for a segment that I'm going to do in a little while. So that's why you need two cameras. You need one that goes into Skype and then one that you're going to load directly into your thing. So hopefully that answers your question. You absolutely can use your main camera, but you have to have a second one that's going to load into Skype, and you just don't use that NDI source, but it's still going to want a camera source. You may be able to get away with not connecting with video, but you may not. So just keep in mind that you might actually need a second camera source in order to do it. All right, now let's see here. My computer didn't like that all that much. I'm gonna go to my new overlay here and let's see. Are there any other questions, Pumpkin?
Yes.
There are. All right. Well, let's go to the Monica cam here.
There is a.
And the Monica cam is stuck.
Is
Well,
it
your audio's still
stuck?
working,
My
so-
audio's working. It's always. What is up with that? Okay, so Zane followed up with, I got it. I didn't know I can't use the same camera. So I think he's good with that. So, new question from Hilarious TV saying, hello, how can I add digital time on my OBS?
Well, one of the easiest ways to add digital time to your OBS would be to, let's see here, how would I do this? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip you over to the tutorial section here. All right, so the easiest way that you could probably do this, you could see we're still on the same scene. Let's say I wanted to add the digital time right here. I'm sure that you can go up into Tools, and you could go to, where is it? Not captions. You can go to scripts, and you could write yourself a script or a Python script that will put your digital time in your broadcast. But that's kind of a pain in the butt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, and I still have that. Let's remove that. I'm going to go into here. Let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to window capture. I'm going to go to display capture just for fun. And I'm going to capture this display. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. I'm going to click Alt and I'm going to drag it. And I'm going to click Alt and I'm going to drag it. And I'll click Alt and drag it. And of course, if I wanted to just get the time there, I could do that. And then I can just expand it up. And of course, the resolution isn't absolutely fantastic here. You might want to just try to control it so it's not too much. But right there, I'm doing a screen capture with the digital time. and it looks perfectly fine, all things considered. So that's one way you could do it. You could do it with a script. I'm relatively certain that there are also plugins that you could do that would do the same thing. But to me, that's probably the easiest way to do it. So, woohoo! Let's go back to the main overlay. That's a great method. Hey, thank you, Moss. Sometimes you just gotta go crazy. Hey, Dave! Dave from Organic Gardening in North Carolina is in the house. How you doing, Dave? I'm actually gonna get to see Dave in about a week now. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm really looking forward to it. Do we have any questions, Pumpkin?
We have a question and we have a comment or two from Frail Gaming.
All right. Well, hold on. Let me go to your. Don't waste all your words without your camera.
Yes, but my camera gets frozen anyway, so it doesn't matter.
The camera is frozen. Go ahead. You can do
I
this.
can talk. Okay, because there's a comment from Frail Gaming who says, I'm pretty sure every time you come off Monica Cam, it freezes because it becomes hidden. If the other option would be to disable and activate the webcam every time you change.
Maybe.
So-
I just fixed it.
Okay, he just fixed it, he said. We'll see how it goes. So we do have a question from Zane. Zane has another question. Does Google Hangouts or Meet still have options to directly live stream over YouTube without using OBS?
That is a really good question.
Good
That was
question.
from who?
That's from Zane.
Let me find it here. All right, and let's go to my main overlay. Let me pop this question up here. All right, so Zane, I don't know. Google Hangouts was kind of sunset, so I don't actually think that Google Hangouts is a viable option to go directly to YouTube. I also do not know for sure whether the new Google Meet will do it. I know that you can go directly to YouTube and that sort of stuff from Zoom, but I'm not sure it's something that comes with the free product or whether you have to pay extra to get to a certain tier before you can use Zoom to go live on YouTube. Google Hangouts was always fun, but honestly, the best alternative for Google Hangouts these days is definitely Restream Studio. Restream Studio will do all the same kind of things, and if you're just using the basic version, just like Google Hangouts used to have the watermark in the top right-hand corner, you can get all that stuff for free using Restream Studio. And you can obviously pay to add more guests or to go to a situation where you don't use the watermark and that sort of stuff. But I think you can do like up to 6 guests possibly free on Restream.io as long as you're okay with the watermark. And it basically does the same thing and more that Hangouts did. You can put chat questions on the screen and all that stuff. That's all part of the free version. So I would say that Restream Studio is probably the best solution to the replacement of Google Hangouts that I've seen recently. Excuse me. How is everybody doing tonight, by the way? Did I say hello to everyone? Hilarious TV, I want to say hello to you. And I definitely need to say hello to Moss. I'm not sure if I did. Astro Parsh is in the house. Let's pop over to Monica's question cam because I think she's trying to say something, and I don't know what it is.
Actually, Scott C. Parker is asking, why do you choose not to have your mic hot when you're switched over to me? Is that something you can answer?
Yes,
or
it is.
Okay, all right.
Let's see. All right, so the reason why I don't have my mic hot when I go over to Monica's microphone is because we're basically in the same room, and every time I've used my mic hot when we go to her, because she doesn't like to have her, she has a microphone that basically picks up everything. And she doesn't, I could set it up so her mic is very sensitive, but then she'd have to have it like right here in her face. And she doesn't like her microphone that way. She likes to have the microphone farther away. So in order to keep the echo from my microphone echoing back into her microphone and causing a lot of echo on the stream, I just turn my microphone off and try to just yell at her. You know, she's probably used to me yelling at her already anyways. Let's go over to the I hope that answers your question. let's go over to the Monica question cam and see what else we've got going on.
Another question from Zane. He does say he apologizes, but he's still learning. That's why he's asking so many questions. But that's absolutely fine. That's why Michael's here. He is here to help answer your questions. So the next question from Zane is, what is the main spec to look for while buying the computer if I want to use OBS? It just doesn't work well on my MacBook Pro 2015.
Yes, Zane. Okay, so let me put this question in the chat. Let me put that one right up there. There we go. So Zane, one of the main, to be honest with you, you can probably buy just about any machine that has an NVIDIA video card in it. And the reason why is because an i5 or an i7 is going to live stream just fine with an NVIDIA graphics card, because the NVIDIA graphics card takes all of the encoding and processing out of the CPU's hands and puts it into the actual graphics card. And then you just set your encoder in OBS to the NVIC encoder, and you don't have to worry about it. Now, with that being said, that's really only talking about live streams like the one I have here. If we're talking about gaming live streams or something like that, obviously the requirements go up considerably. But if you're just trying to do a live stream similar to the one that I'm doing here, any run-of-the-mill i7, I probably wouldn't go with an i5. I'd try to go with an i7 or an i9 Intel graphics card or Intel CPU, or the equivalent in the other one, the AMD, or the equivalent AMD card will do fine as long as you have an NVIDIA graphics card in your machine. And here I'm going to show you, let's see, let's pop over here to tutorial. And if I go into settings, you're going to see here when I go to my output, we have this NVIC encoder set up right here. And that takes all of the processing power off of my CPU and sends it to an encoder that the graphics card is designed to do. And then it just goes right out to the stream, which is the reason why I can do all of this kind of crazy stuff and graphics and moving and video and all that stuff. That's because my computer doesn't have any problems handling that stuff, because the graphics card is handling all the encoding. And if you want to see exactly what I mean, I'll show you right here. I can go to view and pull up my my stats here. And you can see my CPU usage right now is at 2.7% or something like that. I'm not missing any frames. I'm not skipping. Now, granted, this isn't the one. Let me get my real one here. Let me get my real one here. There we go. Here is my real one. This one is the one that's coming off of the actual OBS that is sending out my stream. And you can see my average frame render time is 1.6 seconds, and my CPU usage is super low. There's no way you can get away with doing that on a Mac, because Mac tries to encode everything on the CPU as well as do all the other activities that are going on, and it just can't keep up. It's just not what it was made for. So any PC with an NVIDIA graphics card, you probably are going to be in pretty good shape. And believe me, there's plenty that you can buy that already have them that are going to be relatively inexpensive. So that's the good part of it, is that it doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of PC power to do what you're trying to do. And let's go over to the Monica question cam, see if we've got any more questions.
There was a question from Teaching Learning, but he or she retracted it. It was, is StreamYard permanent free? So I'm not sure if they got an answer or if they left, but that was the question.
StreamYard permanent free.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Okay, so StreamYard is not free. StreamYard is permanently a paid product. But aspects of StreamYard are free, just like aspects of Restream Studio are free. Both are paid products once you decide you want to get to a certain level of, live streaming. So just keep that in mind. both Restream Studio and StreamYard are paid products. They just offer what they would call a taste, so that you can get used to the idea of what they're doing, and then if you want to get more advanced features, in Restream Studio's case, you can get access to a whole bunch of amazing features like stereo audio and full high def broadcasts and all that kind of stuff. Well, you know, that costs a little bit of coin. But what you pay for, in my opinion, is the complete and total ease that a product like Restream Studio provides. You don't have to worry about all the little glitches and problems like what I have when I'm going to the Monica question cam where it's stuttering. You don't have to worry about that. Restream Studio just works. And so that's one reason why a lot of people use it, and I don't blame them. When you're trying to do a more dynamic broadcast, I can get a lot more out of what I'm doing here, and it would make more sense for me to do it with only 2 cameras, because then I'd never have a camera stuttering problem. But sometimes we like to push the envelope here at the Michael Firer Jr. channel. It is what it is. Let's go over to the Monica question cam once again and see if we have anything new.
There is a question from AstroParsh, who says, do you consider Microsoft Teams a better choice over Zoom to host multiple guests, share, and be broadcast through OBS? Honestly, I don't like Zoom.
All right, so Michael T. Panetta is here as well.
Michael T. is here.
Let me go back to my scene here. Can you repeat the question? Who was it? AstroParsh? All right, hold on a second. Let's put this one up on the screen. I did. I was in the process of goofing around with your camera trying to fix it there. Hi, Michael. Do you consider Microsoft Teams a better choice over Zoom to host multiple guests, sharing screens, and be broadcast through OBS? Honestly, I don't like Zoom. AstroParsh, do you use a Mac? That is my first question, because this is a really important question, because I have had experience with Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and one other one that I haven't mentioned yet that I have 2 videos coming out on. And depending upon what operating system you're using, you might get better results with my third one. All right, so here's my suggestion. I have a video coming out. I think the next 2, I think these videos are coming out tomorrow and Friday. And the videos are OBS to Google Meetups, or Google Meeting, which Google Meeting is essentially the same thing as Zoom, which is essentially the same thing as Microsoft Teams. And my experience when using Google Meet with Mac was 100% better than my experience on Teams or on Zoom. So if you're using Mac, I would probably recommend checking out that video and going in that direction. Otherwise, I'm totally with you. I don't like Zoom, and I would pretty much choose just about anything other than that. I do like Teams. The one drawback I find to Teams, and you're gonna find the same problem when you're using Google Meet actually, or Google Meeting actually, is that it mirrors your screen. And there's nothing you can do about it. The broadcast, the people watching your broadcast are still gonna see it correctly, but unfortunately, you don't get to see it correctly. So, so there's that. So if you're using Mac, you might wanna wait for the Google Meet video to come out for Mac. It'll either be tomorrow or Friday. I don't remember if I scheduled the PC version or the Mac version first. So we'll have to see. Do we have a lot of questions, or are we?
We have one more question.
All right. I'm going to take one more question, and while Monica is reading it, I'm going to go ahead and invite my guest. Let's see. Here we go.
Ready?
Give me just a moment here.
Fine. I can.
So properties. Your camera won't be a problem anymore. But there we go. We're back.
Okay. Is it me?
It's you.
It's me. Okay, next question from Scott C. Parker saying, branding. Did you try any forms of company names before going with your name? I find your name works. I'm working on branding at the moment.
All right. That's, this is a fascinating question, and it really goes back to, I'm not sure it matters. I think branding, how do I put this? I think you can kind of go with just about anything you want. When I first started doing this, I used my name because it was a vlog channel. So, what do you call your vlog? I don't know. I vlog daily for about a year on this channel, so it was a vlog channel. I have a bunch of other channels by which I have creative names, like one's called For the Love of Cars, and I have a couple of other channels that have names that are directly associated with the genre that they're in. I suppose I could have been a lot smarter and called this channel, live streaming mayhem or something that related to the topic that I'm talking about. But it just so happened that I switched over from doing vlogs to doing more help content, and so it wasn't a conscious decision to use my name for this particular channel. It just happens to be the channel that I ended up doing this sort of content on. I hope that helps. But honestly, if you create good content, specific audience, it doesn't matter if the name of the channel's dog poop. People will watch it because job. So just keep that in mind. Branding comes after people start to know who you are. I'm sure there are a lot of people that would have said, dude, why are you using your name? Nobody even knows how to say that. So it is what it is. Hey, we are at that point in time where I'm going to bring on Michael T. Panetta as my special guest this evening on the Restream Studios camera. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. Tonight we're actually going to talk, it's going to be an open forum, so if you guys have questions about YouTube, the YouTube algorithm, or anything like that to ask Michael and I, this is going to be the time to do it. I'm going to just pop over here for a second while I bring my guest in, so give me a moment. And by the way, if you have other questions for me specifically about live streaming, please continue to ask them. Monica will aggregate them, and I promise you, get to every single question before the end of the live stream. So give me a moment and we'll be right back. Hey, we've got the awesome Michael T. Panetta. He's on this side. And this segment is sponsored by the absolutely fantastically amazing Restream Studio, right
Yes.
above Michael. If you have any general YouTube questions, please ask them at your whim. Otherwise, we wanted to talk a little bit about how to deal with the YouTube ups and downs, because
Yes.
damn. So
Damn is right.
tell us about it, Michael.
Well, I mean, from the most basic thing of you want to do something, and whether you have a full-time job or you've got a full-time kid or you've got just full-time stuff going on, just because you have something planned and you're not able to do it doesn't mean you should just throw it all away because you didn't want to get it done that day that you want to get it done. Tomorrow's another day. And like, for example, today, I wanted to get my video done and up for tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to happen. I am too tired. And the thing about people saying, "Oh, you got to push through, you got to grind." No, you don't. You don't. Listen, you can sit there and get on a roll and do things, but first things first is you got to take care of yourself up here. And when it comes to those ups and downs, YouTube's still going to be there the next day and the day after that and the day after that. So, it's don't get down if you're not putting something up on the day that you want to do it. Like, I'm going to try to get mine up tomorrow. If I don't, guess what? I'm going to put it up on Thursday. And it's going to be good because I'm not staying up till 1 in the morning today to do it.
You absolutely know it.
So,
Moss says
yeah.
he is also a Toilet Squad member.
Oh, yes. I got the FPT 404, which is the front page tech. When he lost his channel, he sold
Switched
these
it up.
shirts. Yeah, because he still doesn't have his AdSense back. That's talk about an up and down. A channel with a few 100,000 subs gets hacked. His channel goes away. They delete everything, and all of a sudden it's some live stream with Elon Musk fraud for Tesla stock, and he gets his help and he gets the channel back. But then this takes days, like a week, and meanwhile he still has a show to do.
Yeah. You
And
think you're having a
sponsors,
bad day,
and
right?
yeah, he had to start up a new channel, continue to do the news that he wanted to do, sold the shirts to try to make a little bit of money, but he got his channel back, but AdSense will not be reinstated for either 30 or 60 days. And it's like, so he's still putting up things that you don't get paid for.
Yeah.
And listen,
That's terrible.
yeah, and his thing, and everybody, a few people know who John here is, and he's putting up breaking Apple news. If he puts up something that's rumors and he's got some great inside tracks, what if that video blows up and gets 1 million views? What's he get out of it? Nothing. They're not going back to pay him for what he
No.
lost. He just doesn't have AdSense, and they don't have a way around things like that. Like, these are the things, and again, this is why you have to think of everything
Yeah.
when you're doing things.
And you have to accept business loss if you do this for a business as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to say hi to Pauline Newman, and
Hi,
I
Pauline.
wanted to tell a little bit of a story. So my channel exploded, what would you say, March,
April, we
Somewhere in
started
there.
to see the uptick. Let's call a spade a spade. You worked your butt off all the second half of last year
Yeah.
and started to see the grind going up, and then of course 2020 happened.
Yeah.
But you were already on an upward climb. It just so happens.
It just got expedited, let's say, by COVID. But
Yeah.
I wanted to say that there was a period of time, especially when things really took off, that I felt like I couldn't possibly release a video that wasn't gonna do awesome. And I had all of this content planned, and I was like high as a kite on how things were going. And I would put together these really, really fantastic videos that I thought were just gonna do awesome, and they'd hit my channel and do nothing. And there is nothing in the world so exciting as when something does really successfully on your channel, and there's nothing that kicks your butt and gets in your head more than releasing the video you expected to do well that just tanks. And I've been through this, man, 10 times over the last 3 years on my channel. There's the super high highs and the super low lows. And I just want to let you guys out there know it's going to happen to you, and you have to have a way to cope with it. My way of coping with it most times is sitting right over there. But you guys have to figure out how you're going to cope with the super high highs and the super low lows that comes with the crazy ups and downs of YouTube. Because having a person like Michael T to call up on the phone every given day and say, dude, you're not even going to believe what just happened, or that why isn't that video performing right, or whatever. It has to always be in a positive way, because if you don't have that discussion in a positive way, then that gets in your head and it'll totally destroy your creativity. And so you got to have the right person, and you got to have the right dialogue, but you've got to have a plan for when it happens, because YouTube will just kick you right in the nuts. Or whatever other part is excessively painful, depending upon, you know, that sort of stuff.
Whatever it is. But yeah, you can't control it. You can only steer around it, and, you know, step back and reevaluate what it is that you're doing. And, you know, until that happens, you won't know what to do. But the more you do it, the more you can take it head on. And the idea is that you need to get ahead of it before it happens. I've you know, when Michael was going through this, and I think I've said this before, when Michael was getting that hit in April, and the line was literally going up, almost straight up, my first thing was, oh, this is awesome, so cool. Now, my channel was also seeing an uptick, but I wasn't doing anything. It's just people were home. They were watching things. But here's what we decided to do.
Well, what did I keep saying every other day?
It's going to end. I wonder when it's going to crash, Mike. I was like, fire, it's not going to crash. I'm just waiting for it to crash. And my response is, get ahead of it. Keep putting up more and more content. Hit it hard and hit it fast. Get in front of that algorithm and say, you need to suggest me. I'm the one in this niche that you need to suggest. And sure enough, that's what happened. He reached a new level, and it plateaued. Now, there's nothing wrong with plateauing, guys. You get to a certain level and it plateaus. I just went up a little bit again, and I've plateaued again. But I see that as a success. I was getting less than 2,000 views a day on my channel, and now I'm getting more than 2,000 views a day on my channel. For me, that's a success. You know, I'm super happy that I'm above that, but I need to keep producing content to show YouTube I'm still here. And at this point, this is a good time for me to try new things, because they're now showing me to it maybe might be my same audience, but a broader audience that might say, oh, you know what? I like this. I like this video he did better.
Right.
I like the Apple stuff. I like the Android stuff.
Yeah. And you can always take solace in that plateau in some ways, because the thing about YouTube is that it may bust you through the ceiling, but it'll always kind of bring you back down to a plateau. But you'll know when you get pushed back down to that plateau, as long as you keep producing content, you're going to stay there.
Yeah,
but
the money
goes
goes up
out again, and the money goes up, and the ad
when you
revenue
have
gets
that
better.
AdSense, the money goes up and the view goes up, and your older videos get suggested. So that's, you know, ultimately that's the game, is that you want your views to go up. You want your monthly views to go up. And again, if you have AdSense, then that will begin to go up.
Yep, and Moss just mentioned it, because Moss just had a video that just went completely ham a couple of weeks ago. But he produces content at a regular interval all the time. So before his video went ham, he was getting 50 to 100 views in 48. Now he's getting 1,000 views in 48. But he's plateaued. It's not going below that, but, you know, it's kind of one of those things. And Moss, just keep pushing, and putting out the same kind of content, and eventually it'll rise again, and then they'll plateau you and you'll come back down again. But that's how the system works. If you've never been through it before, believe me, it's like a punch in the gut. I kept waiting. My biggest fear was that as soon as it stopped rising, it was going to go back to my normal 50 to 100 views a day. And I'm like, I don't think I could handle that. That's not the way it works. So take some solace in that. It's a punch in the gut is right, Moss.
And here's the thing, Moss. If you have anything different that you might want to try, now that you've reached a different plateau, now would be the time to experiment with it.
Yeah.
Whether
well,
it's
and he says the plateau never goes down. That's not true. If you don't continue to consistently produce content, it will go down. Ask Michael.
Yes, it will go down. And here's the thing. This is a well-known, I shouldn't say well-known. It's not a well-known theory. It's a well-known theory, but it's becoming more fact, and I'm learning it from another class that I actually pay for. So you're kind of getting something that I pay for right now. But that glass ceiling that people say YouTube has, it does exist, and it has been documented by people a lot smarter than me. And that's how I learned about this idea that you do hit a glass ceiling. And if YouTube doesn't see you as worthy to break that glass ceiling, you won't. And I've ridden that. And that's okay. You just need to keep putting the content out. Now, I did break into a new area. So I have a few different, and you can call them a few different topics or a few different video styles, but we refer to them as buckets in my class. So you put a bucket out, and that bucket will be something specific. Like I do phones, I do earbuds. I want to do I bought this on Amazon bucket, and I'm going to keep doing those because those are newer buckets that I'm doing on top of the cell phones, the accessories, and those things. So consumer products. So those are things, just a little, little things here and there. But yeah, Moss, you even though the plateau sits there, and Michael and I have experienced this, and I'm experiencing it right now, which is why when Michael talked about those ups and downs, I'm not letting me not being able to get a video up tomorrow because I'm watching my statistics and my analytics, and I know that YouTube's going to hold me up for another day. I'm not falling back down. I know they're putting me right where I need to be, and as long as you don't let it happen too much, I think YouTube will give you a day or so. I don't want to push
Moss
it.
has the right idea. He says he tries to put up stuff every 3 days.
And that's great.
That's definitely the way to do it. Now, Carl Witzman asked a question. He says, a friend and I do a cigar appreciation show.
Oh, wow.
One of the shows had 70 views, and then today YouTube shows only 22 views. Has this ever happened to anyone else? I'm guessing if you've been on YouTube for any length of time, this has pretty much happened just about everyone, Carl. And I just want you to know that especially this week, right now, YouTube is having what I would call a general accounting problem.
A senior moment.
Yeah, so their numbers are definitely not right.
No,
so when they get everything squared away, it could jump back up to 70 views. It could jump up to 120 views. Certain videos just aren't reporting right for whatever reason.
It happens.
This does happen. This does happen, Carl. So don't panic about it. It'll get fixed. If it was like, I can't even imagine the stress of releasing a video when you're someone like Mr. Beast, and the thing is supposed to, generally gets 2 million views after a week and a half, and he's got 75,000.
20
so
million
it's
views.
Costing him, so he knows it's costing him $200 and some $1,000. That's when you stress.
Yeah, that's a different kind of stress.
That's a different kind. That's like, how am I going to pay my guys kind of stress.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different level, and people may sit there and say, "Oh, I wish I was him."
Yeah, I wish I had those problems, but
no, you don't. Not right now. No, you don't, because you wouldn't be able to handle it because you haven't reached it naturally. Oh, and you know what's so funny, Michael, and this is the idea of things happening and you get lucky. Mr. Beast did do a contest, and you and I never talked about this with you. They get a winner, and the winner gets a shout out. And one of the things that we talked about is the concern of this unnatural growth to a channel. And we were wondering who this person was that won. And actually, this dude has a channel like almost like a Mr. Beast style channel, but maybe like a little more impractical jokers type of deal. But the kid works his butt off. He had like 60 or 70,000 subs already. So he was like waiting for that moment to happen.
But he was ready. There's a big difference.
That's basically what I'm saying. He was ready. Is he ready for everything that he's getting? Maybe not fully, but he's more ready than, say, me getting on there and, winning. I don't know if I'd want that at this juncture.
Nate Diaz says, and I hope that's short for Nate Diaz because he's one of my all-time favorite fighters. But either way, he says that it's too bad that you and I are so poor that we can't afford wired headsets.
Listen,
or wireless headsets.
This is the headset I used to edit. You don't edit with wireless headsets.
I don't.
It's not professional. So
I don't like to wear a headset.
Yeah, wired to into my mixer, which this is a $500 mixer. So if I wanted wireless headphones, I would get them. But
I think I should just mention to Nate that I'm just really cheap.
Well, yeah,
so these are the shitty headphones that came with my iPhone, and that's what I'm going to use them until they freaking die. And then I'm going to call Michael up and say, hey, you got any extra wired headphones that you got in one of your iPhones? And he'll say, yup.
Nate, we were actually thinking about calling your mom later on, so
Yeah. Oh, Nate. Someday you'll be 9. It's gonna be great.
Someday. I don't want to delete him. I want to leave him in there. Thank you, Pauline.
Pauline's the best.
Bye, Nate. See you, buddy.
Love you, man. Come back again when you can't stay so long.
Yeah, and tell your mom I said hi. So anyway, back to the most important things. So yeah, this idea of this growth can be definitely something that you could or could not be ready for, depending on what it is. But I'm happy to say that the dude that won deserves it.
Scott says I might actually get the headphones covered by Apple. Oh, dude, should I tell my Apple story?
Yes, tell the app. This is an up.
Okay, yeah, you know what? Because I actually have a little bit of a potential confession to make during the telling of this story. So if you guys, and I know some of you watch all the stuff that I produce, and if you do, thank you so much. But I did a video a couple of weeks back where I talked about my studio and the equipment that I use. I just want you to know there's going to be another one coming soon because everything, literally all the equipment in my studio is completely new, and I want to talk about that. But I talked about the laptop that I use. It's an old 2015 MacBook Pro, and it was swelling on the bottom. So the bottom was all bowed and it wouldn't sit flat on the table. Well, a couple of days after that, the top started to bow as well. Now the bottom's been bowed for, I don't know, probably a year, maybe a year and a half. Mm-hmm. It's kind of almost been like that since a couple of months after I bought the laptop. But the top bowing was a new thing. It was actually starting to negatively affect the keyboard. So I finally said, you know what, I'm just gonna take it to the Apple Store and get it fixed. So I took it to the Apple Store. Let's just say that, needless to say, they covered it as a defect, so they didn't actually charge me for it. They did it under warranty, even though the laptop wasn't under warranty anymore, which I do appreciate. The hoops I had to jump through to actually make it happen, that's another story. I don't think that customer service should be quite that bad for a premium product, but I'm not gonna get into that because I do love Apple products in general. But when I got the machine home, it runs like 150% better than it did. So there is a possibility that some of the live streaming problems I was having on my Mac weren't necessarily due to poor Mac equipment or the Mac not being able to keep up, as much as it's possible that it could have also been this battery swelling problem. So that leads me into the possibility that I'm actually going to live stream next Tuesday night from my Mac laptop, and we're going to see what happens. And that's going to be mostly because I'm not going to be here and I'm not taking my desktop with me. So So tune in for that. I think it's possible I won't live stream next week. It's very possible. But if I do, I'll be doing it from my Mac. We're still going to try to do the Monica question cam and go crazy and do stupid things. It's just going to be on my MacBook, and we're going to see what happens.
There you go.
So that's my way of saying I might be wrong. And if I was, don't worry. I will be putting a video out about it.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions in regards to what we were talking about, or looking for any advice, just as far as, with having an ups and down, or not seeing the results that you were hoping to see,
Yes.
Et cetera, et cetera.
There you go. Tech Examine. What's your thought on shorts?
On shorts?
Are you talking about the ones that you wear when you're not wearing pants? Or are you talking about video shorts? Let's see. How to quality live stream like Mark Zuckerberg. Interview with M. Yeah, no kidding. He was using a red camera?
I don't know. Oh, shorts on YouTube. You could nothing. I got no comment.
No, the new shorts on YouTube. Is this like a thing?
This is like a TikTok type deal that they have. They're rolling it out. I don't think everybody has it yet. And if you do, maybe I just I think they're still pushing it.
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, this is it's like a TikTok. That's kind of the idea. It's their it's
well,
their
I hate
version.
TikTok already, so I don't need to hate.
It's only
something else
live in
about
India
YouTube.
right now. So yeah, so they haven't rolled it out over here yet.
So Scott C. Parker asks if we have any recommendations on changing focus of a channel. So Scott, I want to kind of narrow down the reasons why you might think about changing the focus of your channel. If it's too controversial or you take too much heat and you're not having fun with it anymore, you might want to change it. Not getting any traction on a specific subject matter for your channel is not a real good reason to change it unless you don't have passion for that. If you are covering on your channel a subject that you have immense amount of passion for, it just hasn't taken off yet, chances are just creating better videos and studying other people's videos in your niche to learn what they're doing and what they're using to tickle the algorithm, so to speak, might be a more effective thing than changing your content. But what's your thought on changing the focus of your channel, Michael?
Well, you know what? I've actually gone through this a lot. I've tried to change focus on my channel a few times over the years, and when it comes to that changing focus, depending on who you have following you already, it definitely does limit what you're doing, especially if it changes kind of the core of what your audience is used to. Like for myself, I thought, okay, well, it's tech. If I stop doing accessories and I start doing phones, that's the same thing, right? My audience won't leave. Wrong. It's a very fine line, and that's why when it comes to changing focus on your channel, depending on where you're at, there's a few things you have to ask yourself. The focus that I'm changing, is it so drastic that and this is just an example. If I'm doing a tech channel and all of a sudden I want to do vlogs about life and living, or I want to do vlogs about woodworking, you're changing up the platform. So at that point, I would say to someone, maybe start a new channel, because depending on how old the channel is, it might just be easier to do that, because your audience isn't going to know who this is. YouTube isn't going to know who it is, and it's just going to be a mess. Now, if you've got a channel with a few hundred or 1,000 or so, you might have an easier time flipping that over,
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, Michael even had it with 1,000.
I had 1,200 subscribers, and it took me 9 months to get any traction when I moved away from daily vlogging to what I'm doing now. So just keep in mind that you can do it. It just requires a lot of passion and a lot of dedication. He says he's no longer working in his former industry and he's shifting areas. So his videos have always been, you know, what am I doing now? And that sounds kind of vlog style. So you're trying to gain an audience that's interested in what you're doing, not specifically a certain niche. I can tell you, Scott, that's like the hardest style of videos to really break into, and it could take a very long time. So if it's what you're passionate about, keep doing it. But otherwise, it's pretty tough. We have a question from Willie Mills. He's looking for wireless camera options. Honestly, Willie, for OBS, honestly, the best wireless camera option that you're probably going to be able to find is your iPhone or your Android phone. And there's lots of apps that can get that done. If you do a search on my channel, you're going to find some videos that show you how to use your camera off your cell phone in OBS. So I would definitely take a look at that. Let's see what else we have. We're talking about Mr. Beast, who made 1,000 videos before he started to get any traction, and that's true. Moss asks, do we use vidIQ or TubeBuddy? For me, I use TubeBuddy, and by the way, there's links in the description if you want to check it out. It's totally free to check it out. If you guys don't know exactly what vidIQ and TubeBuddy are, they are basically tools that can help you find keywords and keyword phrases for your titles and stuff that can help you rank your videos on YouTube. Just keep in mind that you can't rank a video on YouTube unless it's good, and there are a lot of factors that go into that, like your thumbnail, your title, and of course the quality of the video. So just keep all that in mind as well. 4,000 subs and 1.5 million views in 15 years. Yeah, so I mean, he's got lots of views, and obviously you have a dedicated audience of people that are just interested in seeing what you do.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
so you should be fine.
You could keep going on the channel and rebrand it and do the things that you're doing, but just keep in the back of your mind, you know, maybe the views you were getting before are not the views you're getting now. And all of a sudden you might start noticing that you're losing subs instead of gaining subs, because the same thing happened to me. You know, I hit 49,000 subs. I would take a break. I would change what I'm doing from, you know, doing tech to tech news, back to tech to vlogging to tech, different things. And, you know, it got to the point where the subscriber count was imploding, trying to clear out what wasn't watching.
Yeah.
So you might experience that if you want to stick with it. It's a bumpy ride.
It is.
But
Go Groomer has some advice that I think is good to mention, and he says it feels like more niche specific you can be, the more you help your audience understand the value you can provide, and steady growth will follow. And if I'm being honest, Go Groomer, that's pretty much almost exactly what happened on my channel. The more I niched down and the more I went into the very specific niches of the types of live streaming applications and stuff that are out there, the more my channel really picked up. But it's also because I got more knowledgeable. I've used this stuff for so long now.
Yeah. And the scary thing is, it's not even necessarily the audience understanding your value. And this is really scary. It's the algorithm that's doing it.
Yeah.
It's the algorithm that's putting in front of people who watched a specific video on a topic, and now they're showing Michael's video and they watch that, and this goes and goes, and they keep picking out people who are watching those videos and throwing it in front of them. There's a documentary on Netflix called The Social Distraction, I think it is, or something like that. I forget what it is. Go watch it. It has to do with algorithms. It's insane. But Moss had said, you know, vlogging is dead since Casey Neistat. Vlogging isn't dead. The problem is everyone's trying to do his style.
Yeah.
People need to do it on their own and
it
find
seems
their new
brilliantly easy, and it's not.
It's not. I always refer to Casey as organized chaos. And everyone looks at me like I have 5 heads when I say that, because he comes off as having no clue what he's doing, all over the place, and it's just this jumble of mess, when in reality, he knows exactly what he's doing every second of a video. But anyway, yes, Casey's copied by everyone. Exactly.
yeah.
So people need to find their own thing. So I wouldn't say it's dead. I would say that people are lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and I, you copy the things that you love first, and then you develop
Right.
your own style.
Exactly. Exactly.
How to gain more audience retention.
Make better videos.
Yeah. Zane, the best way to learn how to gain more audience retention is to go to other YouTubers that are doing the kind of videos that you want to be doing, or the kind of videos that you're doing, and watch 25 of those videos with a notepad in front of you, and write down, how does this YouTuber engage his audience? How does he re-engage his audience? Is he using humor to talk to his audience? Is he using a specific style of editing to keep the audience interested? Is he using a lot of B-roll? Is he using... Write all those things down for all 20 of those videos, and when you do, you're going to notice a pattern. And that pattern is a pattern that you can copy in your videos to have the same kind of success.
Yeah, and you're not necessarily copying the person. You're just taking...
You're copying the patterns of
You're copying the
re-engagement.
pattern.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. When you watch these videos, make sure you verify what it is that they're doing and what views they're getting coincide with how many subscribers they have.
Yeah.
Because if you're watching someone that's got 10 million subscribers and the video's got 5,000 views, they might not be getting the views, the retention. So you gotta make sure you evaluate that. When it comes to audience retention, Zane, I mean, I would say a good audience retention is 40% or higher, 50.
I think, honestly, this
is it
depends
median?
on... It also depends on the niche and the type of content that you do.
Yeah,
Because I've
you're
heard
right.
Daryl mention
You're right.
the most horrifyingly bad retention rates that I could possibly imagine. But in this niche, it's fine. So you're only competing against the audience retention for the other channels in your niche. And if their audience retention is 20% and you can manage 25, you're gonna almost always rank above their stuff.
Yeah.
And this is something that we all struggle with. Creating better content is the name of the game, and studying how other people are engaging their audience is the best way to do that. You can't be worried about what my audience retention is, because my audience retention is at sometimes 60%, whereas for Michael's niche, which is a totally different audience, of 40% is probably great.
Considered good.
Yeah.
And you know what? There is a secret channel, which I'm not at liberty to still divulge after a year. When it comes to audience retention on that channel, it's ridiculously high, to the point where, as a matter of fact, let me just go to one of them right now and look at the stats.
Yeah,
Like, for example,
Michael's referring to a channel that he and I share together, that we put together as a pet project
Yeah,
maybe a year ago.
Yeah, we had done a while ago.
Still a
and
secret.
It's still a secret. And the funny thing is, like, as far as the retention goes, this type of style is a longer format, but you get to the point, and this is so funny, when you have a video, you notice that, like, it goes down and it goes down, and then usually towards the end it goes down even further, almost to zero, like to that. This channel will get to a point and literally just flatline for the rest of the time that the video's on, almost as if a certain amount of people just watch the entire thing, and it doesn't go down. It will go to a certain point. There have been videos that are 20, 30 minutes long, and they this will keep 40% of the people. But I tell you, that 45% and 40% stay for the entire video. And that is insane. and when they come and watch the channel, they stay and watch more videos.
That's the most insane statistic about the views on this channel.
Yeah. And one day we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I think one day we're gonna have to break this down.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I want to get
Michael,
more
it's probably time for us to push back into the live streaming
Yeah,
realm.
get rid of me.
I want to thank Restream Studio and Michael T. Panetta
Yeah,
from Tech
awesome
Examine
service.
for coming and hanging out. I want to thank everyone who did ask us questions and remind you that we do this every Tuesday. Michael T. and I, he comes on to answer your questions and help me out. And I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'm going to pop over for just 30 seconds onto the guest bumper, and then we'll be back to answering your questions about live streaming. So I should be back. I am back, I think. I can pretty much tell you exactly what just happened. The new version of OBS Studio came out today, and I made the mistake of loading it up, and it just crashed. So there you have it. Maybe that's not a great idea, and I should probably revert back to the old version of OBS Studio until they get the bugs worked out. But for now, it is what it is. It is what it is. I think my Zoom deck crashed as well. Everything crashed. It's just horrifying. It did. My Zoom deck is off. So give me just a moment. I hope you guys enjoyed that little gathering with Tech Examined. He's freaking awesome. I really do appreciate when he comes on with me, and I want to take a moment to thank Restream Studio for sponsoring the segment. I also want to let you know that I did not lose a single moment of of network connection. That was absolutely all 100% the new version of OBS Studio failing me miserably. So just keep that in mind. And you want to know why I didn't lose a single moment of oh man, is this attached to the wrong one? It probably is. Yeah, here we go. Let's go to the tutorial screen, and there we go. I didn't lose a single moment because I have this right here. You can see where I had to reboot my OBS, but I have my Ethernet and my cellular completely backed up. I've done 7 complete streams, and if it fails over where I lose my internet access with my Ethernet connection, it automatically switches over to cellular. So this cannot guarantee me that my equipment is always going to work right or that OBS is not going to fail, but it can guarantee that my network connection will never fail me, and that's because I use Speedify. If you want to learn more about how to use Speedify, it's a super cheap option to guarantee that your live streams are never going to drop or fail. And it also gives you a VPN as well, which is totally awesome. The VPN is like an afterthought that they throw in there, and it's so ridiculously cheap to guarantee that your live streams are never going to go down. I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to do it. I really can't. There's a link in the description so that you could check it out. You're going to love it. You're going to love it, especially if you do business with live streaming or any kind of online gaming or anything like that. Hey, you know what? My stream's probably not going to be epic over my cell phone, but it's not going to go down, and that's the most important thing. So let's go over to the Monica question cam and see if we have any new questions.
We do. We have about 5 or 6 questions. So if you were putting questions in the chat, I do have those, so you don't need to re-ask them again. I'm going to start asking them to Michael again, and we will get back on track as soon as we can here. So the next question is from Zane, and he says, is there any way to live stream WhatsApp video call? The reason I don't use Restream is because I have to explain to every guest, even though it's so simple, people just don't know StreamYard and Restream.
Okay. Let's see here. So you're trying to use WhatsApp to stream your live video calls. I did a video called Add a Guest live streaming. Let me see if I can find this puppy. So that I can share it with you. And basically this shows you how to add live streaming guest tools to any anything that does live streaming. I would definitely say that something like Restream is the easiest. So if they're having difficulty connecting with Restream or something like that, well, they might have some difficulty connecting to this. But if you know they're all going to be able to connect to this and you just want to set it all up on your end, I'm gonna share with you a video that will show you how to get that stuff all in there, so you can definitely use that right there. That would be the way. The link I just put in the chat goes to a video that basically shows you how to use any guest live streaming app in your OBS. Let's go to the Monica question cam and see what we've got. See what we've got here next.
We have a question from Teaching Learning. This is the person who asked about the free StreamYard, and he says, thank you so much for the answer. I am using StreamYard these days, the free version. I like it so much, yet I'm afraid I can't find a way to pay for it here in Algeria. What can I do?
Can you repeat the question?
I can. Thank you so much for the answer. I'm using StreamYard these days, the free version. I like it so much, yet I'm afraid I can't find a way to pay for it here in Algeria. What can I do?
Let's go here. You don't have to worry about doing anything. Those Restream.io and StreamYard and some of the other ones will always be free, at least to use the basic aspects of it. So you don't have to worry about paying for it. It's not by a certain number of hours or anything like that. The free parts of those live streaming options are always going to be free. Also, if you aren't aware, YouTube Studio does have its own studio where if you didn't want to use OBS or something like that, you could just stream to YouTube using the YouTube Studio. I probably ought to put together a video about that at some point because yeah, I think that might actually help. Zane Shah, link gone to notes. I'm not sure what link you're talking about, but if you let me know, I will post it again. I will definitely post it again. Let's go to the Monica question cam and see what's next.
I just wanted to make a comment. We have a new member to the group. Intelligent Swag is here saying, hi there, Justin Mello sent me. He said you're a great person to learn from for new folks like me. So I just wanted to say welcome to Intelligent Swag. You can ask Michael any questions you have to if you need to, or if you just want to listen, that's fine too. We're here every Tuesday if you want to just keep popping back by. So let's see. Next is 2 questions actually from Billy Perkins saying, I have a D7200. Am I limited as to length of my stream duration? And his second question, I bought 2 capture cards, $11 each on Amazon. How can I get them to synchronize in OBS? And thanks for speaking the new streamer's language.
Oh, you guys are the freaking best. You guys are the best. And by the way, Zane says that StreamYard does have a limit on the number of hours that you can live stream. That is absolutely true. Restream has none of those limitations. So you can literally live stream with the Restream Studios full version, not full version. You can live stream with Restream Studios basic free version 24 hours a day if you choose to, without any limitations. So there you go. I hope that helps you guys. And now I forgot. Okay, so you have a camera, the D7600, 7200, and he wants to what?
He said that's when he's limited to the length of his stream.
Okay. So the only reason why there should be a limitation of the length of your stream using that camera is because the battery doesn't last long enough. I used to have the same kind of problems with this camera. It would only last about 45 minutes for a live stream. I got a USB thing that plugs into it and allows me to go as long as I want. Now, if you have to press the record button in order to use your camera for live streaming so that it picks up the audio or something like that, I don't know how to get around those limitations. My camera has multiple settings so that I can go to a setting where it will just operate without having to press the record button to get my video and my audio. I don't know if your camera does have that or not. So there's that. You might want to just go to the documentation of your camera to find out. But as far as I know, there shouldn't be a specific camera limitation on how long you can live stream with that camera. It should be just fine no matter what. The second question. Let's go. I'm going to pop back over because I want Monica to read this question again. And I apologize that I'm not updating the questions on screen. It's because when I had to reboot my OBS, we lost those questions, or at least my ability to see them. But let's pop over to the Monica question cam, and I want to get that last one there.
Second question, also from Billy Perkins. He did say, I bought 2 capture cards. How can I get them to synchronize in OBS?
All right. So Billy Perkins, right?
Yes.
Billy, in order to get them to synchronize in OBS, usually they will. Usually they should be really, really close. I'm going to go over here to my tutorial screen so I can show you a little bit about how this works. So let's say this is camera 1. I'm going to add another source. You know what? I can actually add my video camera now. I'm able to do that because my other thing isn't using it. This will probably mess up my Monica question cam, but we'll see what happens. So let's say we have 2 camera sources here. They're just the same. They're looking at the same thing from a different angle. If I wanted to adjust the audio levels for each of these cameras so that they synced up, what I would do is go in here and go to Advanced Audio Properties, and I would adjust the sync offset so that one or both of them would match up with each other. Or if the video was out of sync, what I would do is I would click on one or the other, it doesn't really matter which one, and I would go into filters, and then audio video filters right here. You could go to, is that where it is? Expander, gain, compressor. That's not the right one. Right here. Move source, move value, transition, render delay. Right here. And this allows you to delay your video by a certain number of seconds or frames. So you can delay your video to match. So if one is coming way early compared to the other one, you just delay the one that's coming way early so it matches with the other one, and you should be okay. That is how you would sync those 2 video cameras if you needed to. And I definitely don't want that render delay in my stuff. But just in case, if you have to do that, that's how you could do it. We only see the big camera. Oh, Scott, thank you for telling me. I do this all the time. All right, so we have the 2 sources here, right? In order to sync the audio, you can go into here and go to Advanced Properties, and you change the offset to sync up the audio from the 2 sources. To sync up the video from the 2 sources, you're going to go into the video thing. Zane, I am a moron, and Scott, thank you for pointing it out. I do appreciate it. I can go into my video capture device and go into filters, and then I'm going to hit this plus button here under effects, and we're going to go into render delay, and then I can delay my video. So you want to go to the video that's before the other video and just put in your render delay in here as much as you need to in order so that it matches up with, so they both match up. Now, just so you know, if this is a product of the processing, I'm here for you, thank you, Scott. If this is a product of the processing power that your machine has, it could constantly be fluctuating the delay, in which case it's really, really, really tough to get it right. But if you can get it right, that would either the audio delay or the video delay, this is how you're going to be able to do it. Hopefully that helps, and I apologize for being a complete moron. Let's go over to the Monica question cam, see if we got anything else.
We do. We have 2 more questions, but I want to mention, Zane put in here, what do you think about cheap capture cards?
Let's see here. So Zane asks what I think about cheap capture cards. I have not seen a review video or anything like that that has mentioned that inexpensive capture cards don't work properly. As far as I can tell, everyone that I've seen has reviewed these inexpensive capture cards and they still seem to work properly. Now, personally, I have a Cam Link from Elgato, which is not cheap. It was like $100 when I bought it, but there wasn't any cheap knockoffs available on the market. This was like the only thing you could get. So that's why that's what I have. And for those of you who've been watching me long enough, you know I'm pretty cheap. I would have the cheapest one out there if I could. This camera here, this webcam, is a super mega cheap knockoff. Monica's webcam is a super mega cheap knockoff. So I have no problems with mega cheap knockoffs and seeing if they work. And I would say that if you pick up one and it doesn't work, it's Amazon. Send it back. That's what my theory is. Let's see what else we got here from the Monica question cam. Let me get to there we go. Let's go to this one. You're up, baby.
We're up? Okay, I'm up. All right, there's one more question in queue right now. It's from Tabletop Bob, saying, is there a way to prevent Zoom windows from moving around if people cut out of a live stream? I use OBS to capture the Zoom windows, then reshape them.
Zoom. Was it Zoom Bob?
It's Tabletop Bob.
Tabletop Bob. I was so close. Yeah. There is no way to fix it because of the way that Zoom works with restructuring its screen when somebody drops off. Unfortunately, what happens is Zoom, let's say that there's 4 here. Let me go over here to my tutorial screen. So Zoom, the way Zoom works is you have this and this, and you know, we'll put in a couple of more boxes here. Let's go with a media source 2, and we'll go to, we're gonna really see how much we can tax my machine today. It's gonna be fun, especially considering that the new version of OBS has proven to be somewhat less reliable. But we're gonna do it anyways. We're gonna put this shot of the Oculus up, we're gonna put it on a loop, and we're gonna put this puppy down here, and we're gonna put another, we'll put one more in here. So we're gonna pretend that we have 4 guests on our live stream, and I'm gonna show you why the problem happens. Okay, so if we have 4 guests on our live stream, and Zoom has all these guests set up in these neat little windows that are just like this. And then let's just say, for the sake of discussion, that this guy right here decides he has to take a pee break and he drops off. Okay? So boom. This guy is now gone, and so what Zoom will do is it'll just go, and if you were capturing the screen right there, everything just got reorganized. You know, right here, is going to be half over here and half over here, and it's just going to be a complete mess. And the problem is there's no way to force Zoom to keep the same layout no matter who's on there. So unfortunately, Zoom is going to reorganize every time someone comes in or out or drops or anything. I hate to say it, there's not much you can do. It sucks. That's why you probably should try to use a program like Skype and use the NDI input, because the NDI input will take this physical window and it will just import it into OBS, and you can size it up and shape it up however you want. And then, so if I have 4 guests, when I go to add an NDI input, if I have 4 guests, when I go into source name, there'll be 4 guests listed here. I select which guest I want, it creates their own individual window, and then I move on to the next guest. And this even goes so far as to adding their specific audio as well. So something like NDI is a much more reliable way to add guests into OBS than using a screen capture with Zoom. So hopefully that makes some sense. I wish there was a way to actually solve the Zoom reorganization problem, but unfortunately there is not. Let's pop over to Monica's question cam and see if we have any new questions.
There are no new questions in queue. However, Dave from Organic Gardening says his grandson says hi. So I want to say hi back. Hope he's doing well.
We might get to meet him.
We might get to meet him pretty soon, in a week or so.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. It's exactly like that. Zoom is over, just not good. Also limited to 720. Skype isn't. NDI takes care of the sound as well, no separate source. Zane, that's kind of how I feel about it. Moss says, can you update Tech Examine's advert as it's spelt actually, not actually? Oh, did you see that, honey?
No, I have to...
I didn't make those ads. I just want you to know. Monica, he's smiling. Oh, how nice. Well, I want to thank tonight's sponsor, main sponsor, Restream Studio. I really do appreciate the time and effort and energy they put into helping me make my dreams come true. I also want to thank Placeit for sponsoring a lot of my videos. If you saw any of the jump screens in between, like the ad, like going to a guest screen, or any of the intro screens at the very beginning of my live stream, those were all made in Placeit by Envato, and they do an absolutely fantastic job of making it so easy to create overlays and all that kind of stuff for your live stream. The links for all of that stuff is in the description. I also want to thank Speedify. I had some live connection issues tonight, and those were all related to a wonky OBS, which is a brand new version. So always keep that in mind. I didn't test it, I just went live with it. That's kind of the nature of my live stream, but my live stream actually never physically dropped because I use Speedify. It's a fantastic way to guarantee that your live streams are always going to stay live. So definitely check it out. It's ridiculously cheap for VPN and guarantee that your live streams will always be live. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I really do appreciate it. I'm blessed by the fact that you come and hang out and ask questions. You may want to check in next week on Tuesday. I think Monica and I are going to try to do our live stream from a remote location. Could be a lot of fun. You never know what's going to happen. I won't be able to do any demo type stuff like I usually do on my live streams, but I should be able to walk you through and answer your questions as best I can, and we'll have a lot of fun, and who knows where we'll be or what we'll see. It could be great. It might suck. You just never know. But I want to thank you guys for coming and hanging out. You can never be too kind to other people, so take some time out of your day and try to be good to other people. There just isn't enough of it in this world. There's a lot of people just yelling at other people, telling them what they should think and what they should do, and nobody needs that in their life. Let people think the way they want to think and just be nice, and you know, you just never know. You just never know. So be good to one another. I would really, it's the best way to live. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I really do appreciate it. We will see you on Tuesday night, hopefully if I can manage to get the live stream. I don't know what the hotel's stream is going to be. It's going to be like, but we will see. We'll see how it goes. I love you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.